Okay, so something God showed me 2 weeks ago at school, and it kind of ties in with the need to give myself grace, is that the takeaway was that you don't have enough information to worry. As a recovering worrier, I'm being delivered from that spirit of worry in the name of Jesus. Um, I've been really hard on myself about being in school because I'm not getting the grades that I'm used to getting. Um, I've never had a problem in school. In fact, I used to sleep in calculus and I got straight A's in like almost every math. I think I got straight A's in every math class I've ever taken, with the exception of my calculus class in high school because I had senioritis. But everything I learned there, I was able to, when I had to take calculus again in college, as part of my major because I didn't pass the AP exam. I was able to look at my old notes, and actually I didn't even have to look at my old notes if I remember correctly. Maybe I did, but I already knew it because I had already learned it. But thinking about that now, using that as my point of reference, I thought the first time back in 2012 when I went to school, law school, it was going to be easy. But the truth of the matter is that it was made to be hard. So I attended the Balsa banquet when I went to school a few weekends ago. And I had the pleasure of sitting next to one of the 4Ls. So she's graduating, and she gave me the rundown on everything. Like, I just, again, God poured back into me through her because I felt so defeated. I was like, I'm not used to being, school being this hard. Not to mention, I have a lot more things to make school harder this time. When I was in school the first time, I was working for the Navy. I was managing and maintaining an app. So I already knew the app in and out. It wasn't like I just needed to fix things that broke. I didn't need to whew, sinus pressure. I didn't need to like rebuild net new stuff like I have to do every day at work. Or, I didn't have the level of responsibility that I have now at work. I wasn't a parent back then either. And I just things were completely different. And now like I have to remember to give myself grace because I am excuse me, I am a parent. I am working full time in a much more challenging role. And I'm fitting school, sleep, trying to take care of myself, and be a present mom and a present girlfriend, and try to maintain my friendships all at the same time with all of that, which I didn't have that. I was single the first time I was in school, didn't have a boyfriend, I didn't have a kid, so I didn't have a responsibility to other people. I did have a dog, but Parker managed during the day. And so all that to say, she went on to explain to me that the first year of law school is designed to be hard because they're trying to weed people out. There are two different curves. So it was coming to understand like the first year curve was meant to be hard because it was trying to get you out. And then the upperclassman curve is easier. Like you're graded on a curve still, but you go from a C curve to a B curve. And so it was like a light bulb went off for me. And I just really, when I came back and prayed about it, I realized like I didn't have enough information to be worried. I didn't have enough information to be beating up on myself and being super critical and being super judgmental of yourself. And think about it like this: like whenever you're in the midst of a situation, you are trying to actively get through it and get out of it. But once you get out of it on the other side, hindsight is 2020. You can see everything, you see it clearly because you have a different perspective. You don't have the perspective of being in the midst of the situation anymore. You have the perspective of having gone through it. And sometimes you need the perspective of someone who has already gone through it, who is in your shoes, or who is where you're trying to get, because they can give you insight and wisdom and revelation that you didn't have before. And so that just really ministered to me because I was worried and struggling and just beating up on myself because I felt like I was failing. Like, if I'm being 100% honest, I felt like a failure because I know God called me to do this and told me to do this thing, and it's so hard. But that's the other part, the other takeaway is that when God calls us to do stuff, it's not going to always be a spirit of ease. That is a lie, honestly, that we are often taught. Yes, it's easy to get that word yes out of your mouth, and sometimes it's not even easy to say yes. But once you're in the midst of that thing, you have to work to maintain it. You have to do the work of doing the thing. And so that is not always easy. And depending on what your life circumstances and what your situation is like, it it may never be easy. But that really just ministered to me because I just felt, so down and weary because I'm trying to do my best and I feel like my best is not enough. But it was designed to be that way. It was designed to be that my best wasn't going to be enough because they're really wanting to weed out the people who are not willing to do the work or willing to make the sacrifice or just may not be, in the mind space to do it at the moment. And so I share that to say you don't have enough information to worry. So my new mindset on things is to approach things from a place of optimism because I know I don't know everything. I know I don't have enough information. And so if I don't have enough information, then I can only make the best decision I can with what the information I have. I can make the decision to keep moving or to pivot, and that's literally what I've been doing. I've been trying to pivot and find what's the best approach and strategy for me as far as being a student, studying, being a mom. Every time, something happens with my son, I pray and I ask God, what do I do with this information and how can I better parent him? Like, what strategy should I, apply now? Or same thing with school. Like, this study strategy isn't working for me. What can I do differently? Or what can I do that I didn't do? Or what worked for me before that I can bring back? And so it's a lot of times we don't take the opportunity to really like assess on the other side. Like, usually I'm guilty of it myself. We are celebrating getting out of the storm. We are celebrating getting through the challenge, getting through the difficulty. We're celebrating overcoming, but we're not doing that it's a term we use at work, post-mortem. We're not doing the post-mortem. We're not doing the retrospective to see what worked well, what didn't work, what we need to keep doing, what we need to stop doing, and how we can apply that approach to everything, like especially as it concerns our faith. Ultimately, our source of truth, our source of wisdom on all of this is going to be God, but we can operate from a place of wisdom and take what we learned from the situation and identify what didn't work for us and what did work for us so that we can make the best decisions going forward. And all of this really just blessed me because again, like I said, I've been being hard on myself. I've been beating up myself because I'm not where I want to be. But all I can do is continue to iterate and get better, pray, fast, ask for wisdom and revelation on how to approach things. And I'm sharing that with you so that you can do the same thing in your own life too. Bye.